All right, so hopefully everybody in here is School of Business. You're in the right place. This is going to be our overview session for orientation. So just to begin to get acclimated, hopefully some of you have made it to campus and hopefully some of you will be going at some point this week. If not, you'll get acclimated pretty easily. It's not a super large campus, but these are some of your go-to people. We have one centralized office, the Dean's Suite in the business building. We have our dean, who unfortunately can't be with us today, but she sends her regards. Our assistant dean, Ms. Tammy Dietrich, who if you just logged on, she's also on the call. Ms. D, you want to say hi real quick?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. And I'll be monitoring the chat, so feel free to jump on in.
Thank you, Ms. D. And as I said, I'm the coordinator for undergrad advising, Mary Lehr-Furtado. And then you'll get to know some other people within our office, our communications specialist, Nicole Began. We have our program assistants, Maria Bizagno and Romal Terry. Our assistant to the dean, Stephanie Horner, you will certainly see her. She sits up at our front desk. And then our MBA director, Chanel Lester. So maybe at some point, if you're interested in getting your MBA at TCNJ, you'll be in touch with her as well. Okay, we also have our department chairs who are on this call right now. So we have Dr. Chang for accounting. You'll be meeting with Dr. Chang if you're an accounting major a little bit later. Dr. Chang, do you want to say hello real quick, just so we see your face?
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
There she is. Dr. Levin for economics.
Good morning. Welcome and looking forward to meet you in person.
And then we have Dr. Choi for finance. Dr. Choi, are you here?
Yes, good morning. Welcome to TCNJ and looking forward to working with you.
And then Dr. Neves is not with us today, but he sent one of his faculty members, Dr. Prensky. You want to say hello?
Hello, welcome.
And then we have for marketing and interdisciplinary business, Dr. McCarty.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to TCNJ.
Okay, so now that you know some of our faculty, we will move on. So I'm going to start talking about your schedule, how graduation requirements work and things like that. Again, you do not need to remember all of this today. I'm going to send these slides. So this is information overload. We understand that. So please don't feel like you need to memorize all of this. So in terms of credits, you're going to have a lot of friends who go to other schools and they're on a 3-credit system where one class equals 3 credits. We're on a 4-credit system and we call that 1 unit. So for most of your classes are going to be 4 credits, which equals 1 unit. To be a full-time student at TCNJ, you need to be in 3 or more units, and that comes to 12 credits, but most of you are going to be in 4 units. That's a typical semester course load. Nobody is going to be doing overload right now, but down the road, if you did want to do an overload, you could go up to 5 units if you have a certain GPA, and we have more information on that, but don't worry so much about that just yet. Okay, so your actual fall schedule. Everyone right now, looks like you're in a ton of classes. These aren't all credit-bearing courses. So take a breath when you look at that, because it's like, what is this schedule? Your NSO, that's your new student orientation that you're in for over the summer. That's the one with all the modules that's kind of walking you through the process in terms of filling out your first semester worksheet, placement issues, things like that. So that's not a class you're going to be taking in the fall semester. Then you have your summer reading. So that's also something that you're going to do on Canvas. That's not a true class for the fall. Then we have IDS 102, information literacy. This is a 0-credit requirement. You must do this. It's not going to take you long. It'll take you under a few hours to complete this, but you need to do it in your first semester. Really important that you do that. Our student athletes, you're going to have all these REGS courses listed on your schedule. That's like a placeholder so that we don't register you for a course during one of your practice times. You're going to see most of you will have that on there 3 times, a mandatory practice, or optional practice, and then also your competition time. So that's what those are. Then also everyone should be registered for Business 99, Business Orientation Seminar. This is a 0-credit requirement to help you transition to TCNJ and the School of Business. So everyone should be registered for that. You're going to see multiple room locations for Business 99. We're going to let you know, Ms. Dietrich and I instruct that course. We're going to let you know where to go. So don't panic. We have a very large first-year class of 2025. So we had to place everybody in multiple rooms, but don't worry, don't panic. We will let you know where to go for that. I've gotten a few questions on that one. So these are some items that are on your schedule. Then it's going to vary slightly depending on your major. So I'm going to go through the majors right now. If you don't see something on your schedule, let me know, send me an email. All of our accounting students should be registered for accounting 191, 0 credit requirement. That's something that automatically we place onto your schedule. So that's only accounting students. Accounting students are in both 99, business 99, and accounting 191. Then you have your math placement course. And I'm going to get into math placement a little bit later, but you should have some sort of math placement course on there. If your math placement was MAT 119 or 120 or higher, then we're also going to add on micro or macroeconomics that requires that placement. So then you would have that added. If your math placement is intermediate algebra, MAT 95, then in place of micro or macro, we would add on 2 half-unit business courses. So you'd have 2 of those on there and they make up 1 unit. And then we would add you to a liberal learning course as well. Everyone should have done the writing placement exam. Again, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but you're also going to see that assuming you did the placement exam. I know we have a few people who didn't complete it and you should be completing it now. So you'll either have the first year writing 102 class, or you're going to have the first year seminar course. All right. So those are our accounting folks. Then we move into business administration majors. So this is finance, management, marketing, interdisciplinary business. This is also our undeclared business students. So this looks exactly the same as accounting students, except you don't have accounting 191. That's the only difference. Our eco students are going to be the most different on here. So if you're an economics major with the BS degree, if your math placement, again, was 119 or higher, we're going to look at micro or macro for you. So we would have added you to that. If not, if your math placement was 95, then we added you to either another liberal learning course, an economics option course. So not 101 or 102, but a different class. Typically speaking, it would have been 115 this semester, or you might be in 2 of our half-unit business courses. If your math placement was MAT 95, we also did add you to the 95 for this semester because you need to be in that to take Eco 105, the next class. If your placement was higher than 95, then you're not in a math class this semester, you're just in the statistics course, and you'll take your math placement in the spring semester. Then we also would have added you to a liberal learning course, and then your first year writing or first year seminar course. Our BA economics majors, exact same thing as our BS economics majors, except for that liberal learning course, we would have added you to your language placement course, assuming you completed the language placement exam. If not, then you were added to a liberal learning course for now. So a little bit different. Also, yep, no, that's it. I covered it all. Okay, so we're good. So that's what everyone's schedule should look like for the fall semester. Now I'm going to start talking about placement information. So this is a lot. You were given this throughout the summer. We recognize it's a lot to take in. It's quite confusing. So I'm going to go over it all now. Writing placement. So everybody on this Zoom call should have completed the writing placement exam. Based on your results, you were either added to first year writing 102 or first year seminar. Some of you who were initially placed into first year writing 102 may have been moved into first year seminar, and you would have received an email from Dr. Ringer. She is the writing program coordinator, the director of the writing program. If you need to take the first year writing 102 class, you're going to take that in the fall semester, and then you're going to take the first year SEM class in the spring semester. So that's how writing placement went. There also was a message that went out for students who still need to complete the writing placement exam. Please make sure you do that. That's extremely important to your fall semester, and it also impacts your spring semester, as you can see. So that's writing placement. Again, if you have any questions as I'm going over this, please type them in the chat and Ms. Dietrich will ask them as we go, because we know this is a lot. So that's writing placement. I'm going to wait a minute to see if there's any questions in the chat from writing placement. Okay, looks like we have something.
Okay, so Michael asked a great question. He wanted to know, how do you know if your writing placement was completed?
You would have your writing course on your schedule right now. So if you go into pause and you look at your schedule, you would see either first year writing 102 or first year seminar course. So if it's not on there, then it may not have been completed and you want to make sure you finish the exam. So that would be how you do that. I had sent a link the other day about how to view your schedule, but I'm going to send pause tutorials today as well. So I'll send the information for that if you're not sure how to look at your schedule. Okay, looks like that's our only question on writing placement. If you think of something later, it's okay. We're not going to like shut down questions. You can ask at any point in time. That's okay. All right, now we're going to get into math placement. Math placement, I think, is probably our most confusing placement this year because we were test optional for this academic year. So you didn't need to submit your SAT or ACT scores to apply to TCNJ. However, once we then start building schedules, we asked if you wanted to submit your scores for placement or you could take the math placement exam. We also, the AP load is later this year. We're getting our exam results later. So some of you are going to be transferring an AP credit, and we initially asked you to submit your other scores or do the exam because we needed an initial placement. But your AP scores, if you took the Calc AP exams, they're going to override anything that you've been placed into. Some of you also decided to do a math transfer course. So that will be coming in as well. So stay in touch with me. We don't have a whole lot of students take the CLEP exam since we now have the math placement exam, but it was kind of used as a placement before we had that. The math placement exam is new for us. We hadn't had an in-house exam for that. So a lot of people would take the CLEP exam to see if they could place into a higher math class. I see the chat going. Where are we at with questions in the chat, Ms. D?
Okay, so we'll go in order. Kate asked if someone was placed into FYW 102, will they be behind compared to other students? From my perspective, I believe the answer is no. However, that class counts as an elective. Can you make this a learning moment for all of us?
Same.
Okay.
You'll get a unit for that class. It's 4 credits. A lot of people tend to enjoy the first year writing class as well. There's a lot of interesting topics in there. But no, you are not behind at all in terms of writing. It's just that you're going to take your first year seminar class in the spring semester. So you'll have 1 unit sort of like free elective credit, if you will, towards writing. So no, you're not behind at all. And it's very common. Most students were placed into first year writing 102. So that's the majority of our students.
And so then along those same lines, if someone transferred in English 101, 102, and had AP language, do they still need to take FYW?
If you took the writing courses, the English courses as dual enrollment, they will not satisfy first year writing 102, and you should take the placement exam. Same goes for AP. So we have an AP legend that gets updated every year. So you can't transfer in first year writing 102. So you would need to take the placement exam for sure.
Okay, and still another writing question. If someone completed the writing placement by the first deadline, and yet they don't see a writing class on their schedule, what does that mean?
I would say that's a question for Dr. Ringer, and email me after this because you should have a first year writing class, first year writing or first year seminar class on your schedule. So I would want to make sure and just confirm that you did everything went through with your placement exam. For those of you, just a quick little note, if you're completing it now because it was reopened, once the results have been reviewed and all that, then you would be added to a class.
Okay. And we had that similar question from another student. So same answer for you. If you know that you took the placement exam and it's at least been a couple days and you don't have anything on your schedule, then you could stay after or email Miss Ringer. We can help you with that. Another question is, so if I was placed in FYS, I don't need to take FYW. And that is correct.
Yep. You would just have like 1 more class towards free elective credit, so you could take something else. Yep.
Okay. And somebody said, I have FYS 162. I don't know if that is it. That would be your first year seminar class, which means you're not taking FYW.
Yep.
Kyle is asking, so how are dual enrollment credits used?
you would get free elective for the courses. So that's something that the writing program has determined, is that those dual enrollment ones. Now that's for writing. If you took something else as dual enrollment, that doesn't mean it's just free elective credit. This is just for writing that I'm speaking to. So if you took like a pre-calc class, that would come in for pre-calc as long as you got a C or higher, depending on the course and the content and all that. So I'm only speaking to the English comp type courses when I talk about dual enrollment, and they would come in, you would get the credit for it as long as you got a C or better in the class. It just wouldn't transfer in for the first year writing 102, but you still get the credit, just not for that specific requirement.
One more writing question. Whoops, nope, not a writing question. Somebody's moving on to math. Asking if they have a 4 or 5 on AP Calc, how does that affect their placement?
Yeah, so I'm going to go through AP credit. I have a whole slide and it tells you the scores and everything for math and statistics and things like that. So sit tight. What we'll do for students who are transferring in AP credit for calculus, I tend to look at stat and see if stat was transferred. If stat was transferred and you're any of the majors except for the BA in economics, then I might look at financial accounting for you. So we make sure that you're still in one of your course requirements, but we'll kind of go through what we can add you to for that. I'll be making those AP adjustments as they come in. So I'm going to go back in for anyone who's earning AP credit, and I will modify your schedule accordingly, and you can keep in touch with me about that as well. So, with that, did we get them all?
There's 2 more. Who is your advisor?
Okay, so I'm going to hit that later on. I will talk
Okay.
about advising.
Stay tuned for that. And also, who do we contact about transferring dual enrollment credit?
You could reach out to me initially because I need to know that information to modify your schedule. You definitely, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but we need to have your official transcript, not me. Don't send it to me. Please don't send it to me. You can send me a screenshot of it so I know for scheduling purposes, but I'm not the person who does official transcript evaluations. Everything needs to go to admissions, and then records and registration will review those classes and evaluate them. So make sure that you don't just send your high school transcript. It can't just be on a high school transcript. We need the official transcript from the actual 4-year or 2-year institution that you attended, and that needs to be sent directly to TC&J, to admissions, and then admissions will upload that information, and records and registration, our registrar's office, they will evaluate it. If you want to send me like a screenshot or a grade report or something, or unofficial transcript, I can use that to modify your fall schedule. That would be great. But please make sure you send a final official transcript from the 2-year or 4-year institution to admissions. We need to have that.
Okay. So thank you. The chat actually got quite chatty. So there's a couple more that popped up. If somebody wants to confirm that their SAT score has been submitted, especially regarding their math placement, how would they know that we definitely got their SAT score?
Shoot me an email, and then I have my email address later in this presentation, and you guys have gotten emails from me, so lots of emails from me. And I can check on it. If I don't see it in the system, I might then reach out to either admissions or records and registration to check in and make sure it's in there. But we do need that official score report from College Board or from ACT for that. So please make sure you sent that. But I can check on it. Shoot me an email, and I will be kind of that first step. We'll see if we can go ahead and check on it that way.
Okay. And then 2 questions regarding schedules. The one is my schedule as I see it in pause my final schedule? And related to that, if I see a conflict between 2 classes that are meeting at the same time, what do I do about that?
It's final if you want it to be. You can modify certain classes, but if you're happy with the way everything looks, then rock on, you're good, you're all set. If you see a class conflict, what I want you to do first is to see if it's any of the half unit business courses, Management 201, Marketing 201, IST 201. Depending on the sections that you're taking, you could have like Management 201 in the first half of the semester and Marketing 201 in the second half of the semester, or IST, any combination. So a lot of the time students think that they have a conflict when they don't have a conflict because one is in the first half. So you can see the dates. If you click on the full schedule, you can see the dates that you're going to be attending the class. And a lot of times it's first half, second half, first quarter, second quarter. So that would be the first thing that I would say. So make sure that you truly have a conflict. And if you do see that you were somehow registered, pause can be glitchy sometimes. So if you do see that you have a true scheduling conflict, then shoot me an email, let me know, and we'll take a look. If you are a student athlete and you have one of your optional practice times, it would have REGSOP on it. We might have done an override for that because we were having difficulty getting you into something, or there wasn't anything that fit in that schedule. So that could happen. We would not override a mandatory practice or a competition time, but if it was an optional practice, you might have a schedule overlap in there. So email me, follow up with me if you truly have a conflict, and we'll take a look at it.
Okay, thank you. We also have a request, if you can go back to the slide about the finance schedule for the business administration majors.
Sure, I'm gonna go back. Hold on, let me go back to finance. So the business administration majors. So again, we're looking at math placement course. You'll be in either 95, 119, or 125, depending on your placement. If your placement is 119 or higher, then we're able to add you to micro or macro. If it's not, then we would have looked at 2 of the half unit business courses. If we ran into a scheduling conflict, we might have added you to another liberal learning course. So you might even be in 2, but that was kind of rare. I don't know if that even happened. And then your first year writing or first year seminar class. So that's what it looks like for business administration majors, including finance.
Okay.
We're good.
Yep. I think
Like-
we are mostly caught up. We had some AP questions and I just said to hang on because you're going to go over AP.
Okay, perfect. I feel like we're doing the news, Ms. D.
Back to you.
Back to you. Okay, all right, here we go. So everybody, all business majors are going to complete calculus. It's part of everyone's degree program requirements. Now, the vast majority of business majors are going to take MAT 125 Calc for business and social sciences. If you want to take 127, you can take 127. That's fine. Calc A, you do not need them both. We're not going to torture you twice. For most people, it would be torture. MAT 125 is the one that we're going to be geared towards. So you're going to see this little note on the bottom in terms of placement. Some of you might be starting in MAT 119. Some of you might be jumping into 125, and some of you might be in 95. A lot of people are in 95. So don't feel like you're, out there in la la land. Like a lot of people are in 95. And a lot of people are in 119. So don't panic. We're going to get you to where you need to be. So this is what the sequence looks like. If you have an interest in completing Calc A, MAT 127, and your placement is below 127, you have to take 120 pre-calculus. You don't want to take 119. 119 is not going to adequately prepare you for 127. So I want you to email me if this is you. Again, most business majors will just stick with Calc for business, 125. But if you want to complete a minor that requires 127 as either one of the minor requirements or as a prereq for one of the minor requirements, that's when you want to make sure you do the second sequence, depending on where you place. So really important for math there. I'm going to keep going. I have a few slides on placement. This is just the sequence that you're all going to follow. Okay, so this first class is intermediate algebra. So this is worth a half unit of additive credit. What do I mean by that? Additive credit does not go towards your graduation requirement. So in order to graduate, you need to have 32 units, or accounting students, you need 32 and a half units. So this half unit for 95, it's not going to be applied towards your graduation total. It's considered remedial. It's not a 100 level class. So this is the criteria. This is what we're going to look at to see if you place into MAT 95. So that's right there. I'm going to move on to 119, intro to functions. What the heck is intro to functions? I get this question all the time. This is pre-calc for business majors, basically. You're not going to have all the trig in it that you would in a true pre-calc course. So this is our scores for intro to functions. You're going to see on the math department website, the scores for 120 pre-calculus are a little bit different for the math placement exam. So they're a little bit higher to get into 120. The same is going to go for 125 to get into 127. But this is for 125, the SAT scores, the ACT scores, placement exams, and all that. We're going to take your highest placement. So say your SAT score placed you into 120 or 119, and you think, hey, I'm going to take the placement exam to see if I can place into 125, and you end up placing in MAT 95, we're not going to penalize you. We're going to take the highest result that you have, assuming you feel comfortable with it. So you're not going, if you want to take the placement exam, like you certainly can do that, and we'll take whatever your highest placement would be, whether it's your SAT score, ACT score, or the placement exam. So that's math placement. I don't know if I have another, let me say, okay. So any math placement questions?
Yes, so we have a question about AP credit and math placement. Do you know if a 4 or 5 on AP Calc exempts me from math 125 or 127?
Let me jump over to AP. We'll come back. So AP credit, all official scores must be sent directly from College Board. There's a full legend here. These are the ones that impact your fall schedule, really the most. So these are all the scores in terms of the Calc placement exams. So if you do earn these scores and you transfer in the TC&J equivalent course, then I'm gonna go in and modify your fall schedule. We wanted everybody to do the placement exam or submit scores ahead of time because AP comes in so late this summer, and then we would have modified. We wanted an initial placement. However, if you haven't taken the placement exam and you know that AP credit is coming, I think this week, it's fine. Just let me know once the AP credit is, there, and that's fine. Or you can send me a screenshot of your score. So here's our AP legend for the classes that would impact your fall schedule.
Okay. Great. And then also somebody's asking that they don't see a math class on their schedule. Instead, they're in stat 115. So are they done with their math? And the answer would be yes. If you have satisfied math 125 or 127, but you haven't taken statistics yet, then we've moved you along so that you have a statistics class and you won't need any more higher level calculus.
Yeah, that would be assuming like you have AP or a transfer course or something like that. If you don't have that and there's something, like, let me know. As a reminder, the eco students, you're only taking MAT 95 if you need it this semester. If your placement was higher, you're going to be in eco 105 statistics for the fall semester, and then you'll move into your MAT 119 or 125 in the spring semester. So if your placement was not MAT 95, you're going to take that in the fall alongside your eco 105 class, statistics 1. If it was higher than that, you're just going to take eco 105 in the fall, and then you'll take 119 or 125. So it's a little bit different for our eco students.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any more math ones?
There's a couple. I'm answering some things in the chat as well, because I know you have a lot to get through.
Thanks, Misty. All right, let me backtrack real quickly. Hold on. Let me go forward and then back. Okay. So language placement. The only major within the School of Business that requires proficiency in a second language is the BA in economics, not the BS, but the BA. However, we did have some students who want to take a language. So that's great. You can take the language placement exam. Some of you already were changed into a language course by Dr. Goebel. So that's great. That's perfectly fine. It'll count towards free elective credit, or if you end up doing a minor, it might count towards that. So that's perfectly fine. And you can take that in place of your liberal learning course for the fall semester. No problem there. If you are doing the BA in economics and you intend to stay in the BA economics, you should have taken the language placement exam. You can still take it. This isn't like the writing placement exam where we have certain windows where you take it and it shuts down and they review, or, language is rolling. So if you need to take the language placement exam, if you're pursuing the BA in economics, then you want to go ahead and get that done. And then let me know once you've completed it so I can modify your schedule. Any questions on language, Ms. D?
How do we know our language course is on our schedule?
You would see it. So again, I'll send instructions. I sent them the other day, but I can send them again on how to view your schedule. You would see, like, if you're doing Spanish, SPA 101 or 102 or 103, depending on placement, it would be on your schedule. Now, if you took the language placement exam later, like really recently, it might not be added yet. So just shoot me an email and I'll take a look at it. And again, this is just the BA in economics. Do we have any more? Are we?
One question about who needs to take language. So somebody said, so if I'm not in economics, I don't have to take a language at all. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep. You can, but you're not required to. Okay. We're good. I should move along.
Somebody said, I was not aware that I need to not take a language as I'm not pursuing a BA in economics. Who do I reach out to remove a language from my schedule as I took the placement test? So it sounds like they thought they needed a language, so they went ahead and did it, but since they don't need it, they'd like to take it off.
Just email me.
There you go.
Just email me. Okay.
All right, we're good on language. You want to
Good
go
on
ahead?
language. Moving ahead. Okay. So I'm going to touch a little bit on liberal learning because a lot of you are in one liberal learning class for the fall semester. So we have our proficiencies, IDS 102, that's that 0 credit online tutorial that you're going to take in the fall semester. Then we have first year writing 102 if you need it, and then your first year seminar course. Then we get into civic responsibilities. So you'll satisfy all of these by the time you graduate. Community engaged learning, it's not a separate class. You're going to do this either in the fall semester or in the spring semester. Then you have gender, you have global perspective, and then you have race and ethnicity. Then we move into the breadth distribution, or what we call the domains. You'll satisfy literary, visual, performing arts, worldviews and ways of knowing, your history class, and then your lab science. Depending on your major, you might have a little bit of overlap. We also have, and I didn't include them in this because micro and macroeconomics satisfy liberal learning classes under behavior, social, culture perspective. So don't worry about that, but just to let you know. And then you also are going to satisfy your quantitative reasoning requirements for liberal learning through your calc and your statistics courses. So they'll be satisfied. So these are the ones in addition to your major requirements that you need to take. You'll see we have major check sheets, and I'm going to send you a link to this later today as well. It's a snapshot of your requirements. But for our eco majors, you're going to satisfy global through one of your classes required of your major. For the eco secondary education students, I don't think we have that many. We might have like 1 or 2. You'll satisfy race and ethnicity through one of your classes in addition to the global. Our Eco BA majors, you're going to satisfy worldviews and ways of knowing through Eco 210, one of your requirements, but you'll see that listed out on the check sheet. So you can use the check sheet to reference which ones you need, but these are the ones that are going to be required. Hope that makes sense, but the check sheet will make more sense of it as well. So this is liberal learning, or a lot of schools call this general education. So this is aside from your business specific requirements. All right, I'm going to move ahead. Ms. D, if you need to cut me off, feel free to jump in. If you got any questions.
You're good right now.
Good. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. AP credit we just talked about. We want to make sure you send your official scores directly from College Board to TCNJ, and then we have a legend. I showed you on this slide the common ones that are going to impact your fall semester, but there could be like history in there. You might have had like a lab science class in there. The full legend, you can see everything and how it transfers in. So keep an eye on that. If you are transferring an AP credit for like a history class, let me know, because I want to make sure I didn't register you for a history class for your fall for liberal learning. So please make sure you check that out. And if you have any questions, just send me an email and I can look at your account for that. So again, we'll let this sit for a second. We'll be making adjustments as the AP scores come in, and I believe they're supposed to come in this week for the majority of people. You might have even taken it later and we might not get them until August, so just keep me posted on that. Okay, so let's get into this dual enrollment and transfer coursework. So if you did take a class at another school, typically it's going to transfer if you got at least a C or better. you're not transferring in the C. The C is not going to impact, or higher grade, it's not going to impact your GPA at TCNJ, but it determines if it can transfer. There are some classes that might require a higher grade, like managerial accounting requires a B for the course to transfer. But for the most part, it's going to be a C for classes to transfer. We need to make sure that you request a final official transcript that has that final grade posted on it directly to TCNJ, to admissions. Again, your high school transcript, even if it has the college classes on there, that's not going to do it. We need the actual institution where you took the course, the 2-year or 4-year school. Again, TCNJ, the writing program, it's not us, it's the writing program. They don't accept credit for dual enrollment courses for first year writing 102. So you will need to take the placement exam again. Okay, so that's how that all works. All right, so for those of you who do have transfer courses or AP credit, I just want to show you what this looks like. You look at your transfer credit report to see how these things transfer. The top classes, that's actually like coursework. So that's a course that you took somewhere else. You can see the course code from the institution where you completed the class, and then also how it transfers into TCNJ. If you have a class that comes over, it says trans undergrad, that's free elective credit. So that doesn't satisfy a specific requirement, but it does go towards the required total for graduation, the unit total for graduation. Then you'll see Eco 102, that is one of our classes. So this Principles of Economics, from wherever it came from, that's transferring in as our macro class. And you can see the code Eco 102. And then the one below it, we don't have a world history class, but we're going to give you the history for that, right? So it's going to fill in, the LBL is for liberal learning, historical perspective. So it's going to plug in for that liberal learning requirement. It's just that we don't have a class. We don't have a code to code it under as an equivalent course. And then you can look down below to see AP credit in here. So you can see there's the micro class there. You need a 4 or better micro macro for that to transfer, and then statistics. So statistics 215 is the equivalent course for the AP stat one here. You also see this SAT score. So that's a placeholder course. That's when we go to register you for your math class. If you submitted your SAT score, this placeholder course would then allow us to register you for MAT 125. So you'll see you're not going to get credit for it, but it serves as a placeholder. So that's how we can add you and how you could modify your schedule as well, as long as your scores are in the system. So that's how transfer coursework and AP credit looks on your transfer credit reports. It'll all start to make a little bit more sense the more you get into pause and play around with it. Okay, so we do have a few students who are coming in with advanced standing. So if you're transferring in with an AA or AS degree from a New Jersey community college, please make sure you send your final transcript with your degree. We need to have the degree posted on it. You're going to get waived from those domains, the breadth distribution, so the history, the natural science with lab, literary, visual, performing arts, and worldviews and ways of knowing. Since we still consider you a first-year student, you need to satisfy the first-year requirements. So if you need to take first-year writing 102, you'll take that if it's needed, the first-year seminar class, and then those civic responsibilities. The civic responsibilities, you could have a class do up to 2 of those. And then you might have a major requirement satisfy global. So you can kind of knock those off with fewer classes. We don't necessarily encourage that, but I just want everyone to know that that's the rule, that you can do that. Everybody's going to take that IDS 102 class. That's never waived. So just a heads up on that. That's a 0 credit tutorial that you'll take. This does not apply to the associate and applied science degrees, but I don't think that would impact anyone on this Zoom call. This would be more for true transfer students. So that's for first-year students with advanced standing. Okay, so graduation requirements. We're going to talk about graduation. You need to earn at least 32 units to graduate. So when you all think of graduation, don't just look at these check sheets in terms of the specific course requirements. You need to pay attention to the category that reads your 32 units or 32 and a half for accounting. This is extremely important. I'm making a big deal of it because this is one of the biggest hiccups that we run into. It's on your pause academics requirements. Sometimes people just skip over that. But you need to earn 32 units. So if you take 4 units every semester, and then accounting students, you take 4.5 fall of sophomore year, you're going to hit that goal line. But you need to make sure you stay on top of that because you will need 32 units to graduate or 32 and a half for accounting. You can't get out with less than that. So just be careful of that unit total. You're also going to need to satisfy those liberal learning or general education requirements to graduate. And then also, of course, your business major specific requirements. And then you need to apply for graduation. So after you've done everything or your last semester, you need to make sure that you apply. And that tells records and registration, it's time to run your degree audit so they can make sure that you've satisfied everything that you need to for graduation. And you get tons of emails about that. So don't panic. Don't, you'll get reminders for this, but you need to make sure you apply for graduation. Okay. Oops. All right, so advising, we had a question about advising. I'm so glad that you're already thinking about academic advising. For everybody in a declared major, you're going to be assigned a faculty advisor. The undeclared business students, you're stuck with me until you move into a different major, until you apply and are accepted into a different major. If you are thinking about changing your major, please know that that is extremely common. A lot of people want to change their major. What you need to do is reach out to the department chair or to me if it's within business. If it's outside of business, you're going to reach out to the department chair of that major for advising. We want to make sure that you're being advised the way that you should be. There's a formal application process. So every major on campus has different steps that you need to take to be able to apply. And we have that information listed on the academic affairs website. We have the business major specific process on our website. For my students in undeclared, I'm going to walk you through that process. We're going to talk about that each semester and see where you are and what you're thinking. In terms of advising, you're going to be assigned a faculty advisor right before the fall semester. You're going to see their name on the right side of your student center in pause. In the meantime, you want to reach out to either me or your department chair. So I'll send this out again later today, and you have all your department chairs information on there. So you want to stay in touch with us over the summer. And then right before the fall semester kicks in, your advisor is going to be listed on pause. And then you're going to want to touch base with them. In Business 99, and everyone should be in Business 99, we're going to have 2 days dedicated to advising. One to talk about the whole scheduling process for the spring semester. And then you're also going to meet with your peer mentors to learn how to use pause because it's a little bit confusing at first, but you will get the hang of it and they're going to help you with that in terms of how to do your first semester of registration. What you want to do, and we're going to say this in Business 99, but once we get closer to the next registration window, sometime late September, we'll let you get situated first. And then in October, you want to reach out to your faculty advisor to meet with them. In 99, we'll talk about what that looks like and what you should do to prepare. What are some of the classes that our students typically take spring of freshman year and all that good stuff. But right now, for over the summer, touch base with me, and then you can also touch base with the department chair for your major. So that's advising. Ms. D, do we have any questions coming in that need answering?
Sure. So Emily is an accounting major, and she's saying that she sees both Eco 101 and Eco 115 on her schedule. So I was just about to write her back and explain that Eco 101 is great and fulfills a requirement, and that Eco 115 is American economic history. So it's okay to be in both.
Yes, that would satisfy a liberal learning requirement. So for social change and historical perspective, Eco 115. A lot of students were actually added to that. So there are a few people on this call that would be the case for, but that'll satisfy liberal learning. Yep.
We also had a question about students that might have IB scores. And from what I understand, if you have taken any IB classes, which is an international baccalaureate class, if you score 5s or higher, then you can send those in to us.
And then records and registration. Yeah, we'll do the review for those.
Right, not us. Records and registration, them.
Over there.
We like to consider us one big team, but it won't get far if you send it to school business.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a very non-business related question, and that was just more about, can I have a car as a freshman? Which I believe is a no, unless you're a commuter.
Yeah, I think I don't want to wrongly answer that. But I don't believe so. But if you do a quick TC&J parking services, that information should come up. But I think you're right, Ms. D, on that one. But I don't want to misspeak. So
I just found the link, so I'll put it in the chat. If you're a commuter, obviously you want to get a parking pass over in Green Hall in student accounts. And obviously you're allowed to have a car. For everyone else, you can apply for a temporary pass, which is for no more than 2 weeks if you have a particular reason, but otherwise you're not allowed to have them on campus. And I believe that was it. I would encourage everyone that you can unmute yourself, and we love to hear your voice too. So if you want to jump in with questions and not type it in the chat, feel free to do that too.
We have Irina raised her hand. Irina, do you want to?
Mom's computer. I'm actually Elizabeth. But I have a question about Business 99. On my pause schedule, it's just a bunch of different locations. That's fine, right? Yeah, just that's like, I'll just wait until that's sorted out by
Yeah,
itself.
you're right. So what it is we have such a large incoming first year class and we don't have a whole lot of big spaces on campus. So we have multiple rooms. That's how we hold them all. But we will let you know where to go for that. So great question. Yeah, nobody panic about all the multiple rooms. We'll make sure you know where you need to go. But great question. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Susan asked a question about study abroad. So I just want to say thank you for asking about study abroad. You're going to hear us promote study abroad multiple times this fall. We do have a few different scholarship opportunities. They're up to about $1,000 that just help you afford some study abroad costs. But it says, do I need to receive a scholarship to study abroad? And the answer is no. Obviously, it's nice to have extra financial help, but it's not needed. Anyone can go abroad. We have an excellent office called the Center for Global Engagement. They hold open hours as well as special events every week and all semester long. If you have any questions or you want to explore different places to study, you can go see them and they'll talk to you about your interests. Please know that you don't need to speak a foreign language. We have plenty of locations that all the classes will be taught in English, and wherever you live, it'll be assured that people will speak English. So don't let that hold you back from exploring study abroad. And just stay tuned because they'll have some special sessions as the semester gets started.
Elizabeth, did you have another question? I saw that hand.
No, I was just wondering if it's okay to leave the meet because my management session started like 5 minutes ago.
You don't need to because they're in here with us. So we're gonna get and move on. Yeah, it'll be immediately after this.
Oh, okay.
But I bet other people were thinking that. So that's another great question. No, sit tight. We have our chairs and faculty in here with us, and we'll try to wrap it up quickly.
Yeah, actually, I've had a couple that, emails that say that they've joined my meeting, which hasn't started yet. So yeah.
You can, if Dr. McCarty, if you want to head on over, you can, if you want to. So why don't we do that? So faculty, go ahead, you can start the meeting and then I will be wrapping up. I don't have a few more slides, but if we did have people who missed this overview session and they're trying to get into yours, you can go ahead and move on over if you want to.
But don't cut yours short. You're.
Well, that's okay, Dr. McCarty.
No, you're
Wrap it up.
informative and I'll just confuse. So that's the.
Stop. All right, so let's keep going. These are just some links. I'm going to send you these. You can explore these on your own. Same thing with pause help, learning pause, modifying your fall schedule. You have access to do this now, but you're probably going to need some assistance depending on what you're trying to change. And you can't change it into something that's closed, of course. You cannot change your first year writing or first year seminar class on your own. And we can only change it if you have a true schedule conflict. We can't touch it otherwise. We are not allowed. So just a heads up on that. I'm going to send this. This is just getting acclimated to the School of Business, some tips in there so you can read through this. Everyone's going to get a peer mentor. They're going to be reaching out to you in August at some point, and they're going to be a huge part of Business 99. You'll be with a team that's overseen by your peer mentor. So be on the lookout for your TCNJ emails. This is like one of our favorite parts of Business 99 and the School of Business. And yeah, Ms. D knows I light up when I talk about our peer mentors. They're amazing. And a lot of you will probably be one at some point. Your to-do list, this is just a final checklist of things that I want you to do to look at your schedule. Make sure you're in the right math placement. Make sure you're not in a repeat course for something you're transferring in or AP credit. You can forego AP credit if you want to, but most students will want to take that credit and then switch their schedule around. So we have that. My email address is on here. You all have my email. And then our drop-in hours. So if anyone is going to campus today, please come see us. Ms. D and I are going to be down in the business building lounge. You go down the stairs right as soon as you enter the business building for that one. The other days we're going to trade off a little bit, Ms. D and I, 1:30 to 2:30. So we're going to shorten the hours. Today we have a lot of folks coming to campus, and we'll be right across from the dean's suite. You'll be able to find us. So that's where we're going to be for a little quick hello. It's not a formal session. We're not reviewing anything like this, but we just want to meet you and we want to see your faces. So try to swing by if you can. We'd love to see you. Okay, questions. We kind of did questions. If you are, let me end the show here.